Kate's going to play us a video from the orientation in September of 2019. So that was held in Florence. So she's going to start off with that at the beginning, and then I'm going to just tell you a bit about the program itself and the eligibility and who can apply.
Great. I think we'll go ahead.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Okay. Start off here.
First of all, they're actually the only Irish TEFL company which has an office based in Ireland. But they were very supportive from the beginning. Straight away when I contacted them, immediately responded. There's really a lot of support, whether it's, you know, you have didactic concerns or something to do with the course, you know, they'll offer you the best package possible for what you're looking for in TEFL.
Orientation has been really informative. It's given me a really good insight into the English language and what teaching involves and the style of teaching that's expected from me. So yeah, really good.
So thank you very much for sharing that, Kate. I guess that just gives you a small insight as to the bit of the orientation. I nearly hate saying it, but pre-COVID times, I suppose that was the way that the orientation was held. Things are a bit different now at the moment, where things are done online for the time being, but that's not always permanent, and fingers crossed we'll be able to have an actual in-class orientation in Italy in September, but it's just going to be temporarily online at the moment. I guess this is a program that I always have held close to my heart because I absolutely adore everything about Italy. Like, I love the food, the culture, the wine, the sun. I suppose I've traveled to quite a lot of destinations in Italy, like prior to even this program. I've been to Rome. We did the Amalfi Coast, which was amazing. Went to Lake Garda the last summer before COVID, so summer of 2019. Spent some time in Lake Garda, traveled to Venice for the day, and obviously then I was very lucky to go to Florence with our TEFL teachers for orientation of September of 2019. So that was actually one of my last places that I visited pre-COVID, and it was just a really great insight to be able to go over there. And it's one of the perks of our job here at the TEFL Institute, I guess, is that we would usually like to try send a representative over for our orientation, no matter where our students are traveling to, just so that I suppose we can get a better insight of the program and just be there if there's any needs as well. So I suppose I really enjoyed my time over there. Only got to spend a couple of days there in Florence, but it was a place that I'd never been before, and it was just so beautiful. It's, I suppose maybe you've seen me in some of the pictures there, the gorgeous cathedrals and everything. It was just so lovely, and it was in September and the weather was perfect. It was around like 20 degrees, so it wasn't too hot or too cold. It was just absolutely gorgeous. So I guess I'll just get straight into it. So we were very lucky that in, I suppose, January of 2020, we still had some teachers go over. So obviously the biggest start date for our most of our internship programs goes on, I suppose, the school term. So obviously Italy is the same here as in Ireland, where the start of the school year is September. So that would be the biggest start date. And then I suppose January was kind of just depending on if teachers maybe didn't come back after the Christmas holidays or chose to move on. So we did have some spaces available. So we actually had 6 students then go over in January, which was all a bit scary, because I suppose from 2019 we had, was it 16 teachers went over, and then we had more teachers then obviously go in January, and then everything with COVID did obviously happen then February, March. So thankfully all our teachers were safe. Some chose to stay put initially and some chose to come home at the time. So I suppose for a programme that was up and running, our partners dealt with things really, really well over there, and the constant communication was great. So I suppose we do have great trust in our partners because of that. We're very grateful for that. So I suppose then everything with COVID, then there was a pause in positions, but we actually had 2 teachers who were very lucky to travel over there the end of September this year. It was only a small space that we had available, and our partners were able to work on that. So we were extremely thrilled to hear that our partners are opening again, and that they have more schools opening up across Italy, so nationwide. And I guess that they just really wanted some more of our teachers coming from the TEFL Institute, and we were more than happy to advertise it and to start again. So I guess just a bit about the eligibility, who can apply for the programme. So you do need to be aged between 22 and 62. You need to be a native English speaker. You need to have a passport from Ireland. I know that there's a lot of issues, I suppose, as well with Brexit at the moment. And I suppose that's issues that our partners are dealing with for teachers who are actually over there that have a passport from the UK. I think they're okay at the moment, but there is a lot of visa requirements, I guess, if you don't have a passport from Ireland at the moment. So you do have to be TEFL qualified. So don't worry if you're not TEFL qualified right now. It is included in the package, and you are just required to have completed all of the TEFL qualification prior to heading over in September. If you are already TEFL qualified, that's brilliant. You're ahead of the game. And I guess you could start away with the application process as well. But there is a discount, obviously, if you already do hold a TEFL qualification with the TEFL Institute. So you do need to have a high school diploma or higher. Teaching experience, I suppose, they do ask that you would have some sort of teaching experience. I guess it wouldn't get too bogged down in the fact that you might not be a qualified teacher, like have a bachelor's of education or anything like that. But I suppose if you had spent some teaching experience, maybe at summer camps or in a different language school, or even on a voluntary basis, this will be brilliant. And you have to be both physically and mentally healthy, and be able to adapt to flexible to the Italian culture. I suppose, well, I know that for a fact I'd fit in brilliantly there. I just love it. I love everything about it. And I suppose be ambitious, and I suppose you want to be a great classroom leader as well. That comes hand in hand with, I suppose, any teaching positions. So the start dates are September 2021, and this is for 9 months. So this is the full school year. Usually one of the first questions people ask is, what are the holidays like, and things for Christmas? So now I do know that, again, I hate saying it, I'm so sorry, pre-COVID times, but that some of our teachers actually were able to come home from Christmas for for a week or so. I just don't know what that's going to be like at the moment when it comes to quarantine and things like that. So I suppose if you are looking at going in September and you are really, really fixated on coming back in December, maybe now is not the time for you to apply. But I suppose it is always something that we can try to see close to the time with our partners if it's going to be possible. It just all depends on whether there's going to be room for quarantine at either side of those holidays, basically. So it is a nationwide program. You obviously can put down a preference in your application, but we would ask to be flexible as well, because it really just depends on what schools are hiring. And I suppose 99% of it would be up north. So I suppose Rome, Milan, Florence. The big question is how many positions we have to fill. We have 15 positions to fill. So I suppose there isn't that many, but I suppose once you are in this program, it's a brilliant program, I suppose, to even build on with your CPD courses and to really fulfill that TEFL teacher dream. So the hours can vary each week, but it's mostly between 15 to 30 hours per week, and it would be some teenagers and adults as well. Very rarely children, I suppose, because these are private language schools. Now there would be some children coming, I suppose, after school for more like tutor support and things like that, but it would be mostly teenagers and adults. And just one more thing about the program details, that if you are in the middle of interviews initially independently, so it may be one of the schools that our partners work with on our placement program, so this would be grounds to decline the application from our side. So if you are applying to just random schools as you go, please just maybe get in touch and tell us which ones that you have already applied to, so that we can maybe let you know whether this is the right program for you, and so on and so forth. So I suppose that is everything that comes from our side, and I guess I know Kate will go through the benefits and everything like that, but there will be obviously a lot of pre-departure training and support from the TEFL Institute as well throughout the whole process. When you're over there as well, we do like to follow our TEFL teachers on their journey, and be so jealous when we see them out and about and everything like that. So once the applications are open, the process is to apply, to enroll onto the website. To apply, then you will receive an application form. So you would be asked to fill in the application form, send in all the relevant documents, and then we will pass them on to our partners, where they will schedule an interview with you. So in June, there's a weekend training program. So for the September start date in 2019, our partners actually came over in June, and we had held a training seminar, which was actually so much fun, in Dublin, in one of the hotels the TEFL Institute had covered the cost and everything like that. And it just was a really like hands-on training program, which was brilliant. Now, obviously, I don't know if that's going to happen this summer, but if it doesn't happen physically here in Ireland, our partners will run that through Zoom, obviously due to the pandemic. Another part, along with your 120-hour TEFL qualification, is that you will also get the IELTS and the Teaching Business English courses. So this is something that our partners will require you to have completed and actually have the your certificate for those as well prior to going over in September. Thankfully, if you're an Irish passport holder, there is no visa processing needed. And I guess we do need to keep up to date with the current affairs, so we can help you organise with the COVID test flights, etc., if needed. So I suppose things are changing every day with the likes of what you need to go into each country. And I suppose this is up to each particular country, I suppose. So we have no say over that, but we can obviously help you with that as well. And upon arrival, there is a full welcome orientation. So I suppose you did see there that was held in Florence. So all of the teachers in September 2019 and in January 2020 were asked to fly into Florence, and that was the base of where the training program was held, and all of the teachers got to meet everyone. They were practically on the same flights, because to be fair, some teachers went over a couple of days beforehand and so on and so forth, but we do always set up a WhatsApp group for each training program. And luckily I was going as well, so I was like, oh, what flights are people going on, and things like that. So people actually were able to meet in the airport, and I suppose the accommodation during the orientation was all covered and things like that. So it was a great base, and we got to go out and, as you can see, go for pizza and have a few drinks and do a few tours around Florence. And then after that, then the teachers all dispersed and went to their various locations around Italy and prepared to head off to their own schools. So it was it just gives you a bit of an insight. Obviously, I know things might be exactly the same as that in September, but we're going to aim with our partners to get it as close to it as possible, I suppose, and as close to back to that normality as we can. So That's all from me now, and I'm going to pass you over to Kate, and she's going to go through some of the benefits of the program. Thank you, guys.
Great. That's great, Katie. Thank you so much. So guys, I suppose this is the part of the webinar. If you would like to, you've heard if you're eligible or not, and you've also heard what the program entails. So we won't be offended if you sign off and you're not interested anymore, but this is the kind of part where I'll talk about the applications and kind of people who are serious and want to go on the program. So if you fit the requirements and you're happy with the program details that Katie kind of ran through there, then I'm going to run through what you get as part of the internship. Okay, so each teacher will get a monthly allowance of 1,000, from a minimum of 1,000 to 1,400, and that does vary on qualifications as well as hours worked. Okay, so our partners will look into each individual person and each individual application and then determine what wage will be given. Of course, if you haven't already done your TEFL training, it's fully included in this internship, and it's done before you head off in September. So there's 180 hours included. It includes your basic, your primary TEFL qualification, but also an IELTS preparation course and a business English course, because as Katie mentioned, you know, there are a lot of teenagers and adults, so you could be focusing on things like IELTS and business in your time in Italy. Full welcome orientation, guys, and one thing that we really do want to stress, and why I would kind of, I suppose, encourage people to do this internship more so, is that our partners are so dedicated and make every teacher an investment. It's not just a program that you go on and it's 4 months and you move on. Now you can move on if you've had your time there, but they do really invest in every single one of our teachers, providing them with like continual professional development courses all the time. They call it the greenhouse project, which, as you can imagine, you know, can be flourishing and nourishing the teacher, and I suppose it's a progression path for anybody who's really interested in it. So it's really a great chance to kind of really change career and look at taking TEFL seriously, you know, with the hopes of pay rises, you know, continual professional development, staying there for the long term if you'd like. So there is a lot of investment that goes into the teachers, which is something that I really love about this specific internship. There is ongoing in-country support with curriculum and training the whole time that you're there. And I suppose if you were to apply for a job independently, I've done it before, and it is a case of, okay, there's your classroom, there's your classroom, and there is your class. So go ahead, go off you go. You're kind of thrown into the deep end, and that's great for some people. But if you are somebody who likes that little bit of guidance, a small bit, and that little bit of extra training and continual development the whole way through, then this is definitely for you. There is access to the Italian public healthcare system when you're there as part of this internship as well. Health and accident insurance is also covered as part of this, and that's what's included. So I suppose you're all asking now, what is the investment fee? So to go on this internship, all what I've just explained there, that is, and of course your job is set up for you and everything like that, for when you arrive and everything like that. The investment fee is €635. But what we do for most of our internships is that anybody who's done the pre-register list or on this internship or on this webinar here today is pre-registered, they will get €100 off for priority. So it would be €535 for anybody here today who would be interested in the program. If you already have your TEFL training completed with us, there will be a little bit more of an extra discount depending on what course you've done. But all you have to do basically is just get in touch with me on Monday, and I'll just check your qualifications and whatnot, and we can kind of decide on the enrollment fee then, depending on your training. Okay. So yeah, the next step then is, if this is something you would like to do, the application process then would involve sending me an email on Monday, or sending an email into the website if you'd like, or give us a call in. But there are only 15 spots, and if anybody was on the webinars the last couple of weeks, these internships are really filling super fast. So if this is something that you want to do, then please send me an email over the weekend. I'm actually going to just put my email into the chat here. Okay. So all the information is available on the website at the moment for you to look at, and the YouTube videos and things like that. But if this is something you really, really want to do, send me an email, and me and myself and my colleagues on the webinar today here as well, Emma's there, and we will be doing recruitment calls on Monday, which means that we will just be calling everybody who's interested, kind of just giving an extra pre-screening to make sure that you're definitely eligible for the program and get you enrolled then, and get the applications moving, and all that type of thing. It does work on a first come, first served basis. So basically the first person to apply and to enroll is the way it works. 15 positions is all we have at the moment. Unfortunately, it's the way it is with all internships. The numbers have been drastically kind of cut, which is unfortunate, but we do hope to kind of have bigger numbers then in 2022, given everything that's kind of going on and all that. We were happy with the 15 positions. I'm going to leave the chat box open there just for a couple of questions, because I can see that a couple of came in here. So Eliza, are there any positions available in Bologna? I actually don't know, are there specific places there? I can definitely inquire for you and find out, but I'm not sure about that specific region. The one thing I do say about all the internships is I do hope that, not that I hope, I think it's best that people kind of go with an open mind and kind of be open to where you're placed, only because with COVID and things like that, you know, preference is definitely taken into account, but it's definitely been kind of limited because of COVID and the amount of schools that are here. So, you know, you wouldn't have as much option as you would have had in the past. Now, we take everybody's preference into account, but just to kind of go with an open mind, and not be so kind of, I suppose, focused on one place. Yeah.
Sorry, Kate, just on that, I don't know if there's actually positions there right now, but when I was over there in September, 3 teachers were actually placed in one of the schools in Bologna. Yeah. So it is definitely a region where we do have where our partners do have a school. It's just, I suppose, it depends on the availability. And I guess what Kate was saying there, in terms of we'd hope to have more positions available, it actually is a really, really good reflection on the schools that our partners work with, that we don't have as many positions available because all of our teachers and their teachers actually chose to stay during COVID and everything that has happened. So we would have obviously hoped to have more positions available, but that would mean that a lot of the teachers would have to move on, and they didn't. So I suppose it kind of is catch-22, where it works in their favor, obviously, because it shows that the teachers are enjoying their time there and they want to stay. But then obviously then there's more of a limited availability then for us as well.
Great, thanks a million, Katie. And I can see, Padraig, here you said you've done your 180-hour training and your 10-hour teaching course, which is fantastic. You're currently in Italy at the moment, an hour away from Milan, and you plan to stay for 6 years. I've also worked with Irish colleges during the summers at home. I've recently started teaching private lessons, so I'm hoping that experience will work in my favor. Absolutely, Padraig, I'd say 100% definitely apply. You seem like a great candidate, so definitely send me an email, and I'll definitely give you a buzz on Monday. That's great. Another one there, Emma, accommodation, is it expensive? Do you get an allowance, and support from partners is included? Okay, so you do get a lot of assistance in terms of, you know, our partners and ourselves as well, pre-departure support in kind of letting you know where to apply for accommodation and things like that. Now, I will say, if anybody has a pen, or I'll just put it into the chat here as well, a really, really good website is Numbeo. I don't know if any of you have heard it. So it's numbeo.com, and it basically gives the cost of living in any city all over the world. So you can basically go onto this website and just find out, you know, how much rent a 1-bedroom apartment is in the city centre of Milan and outside of Milan, how much a Big Mac costs in Milan, how much a cinema ticket costs, transportation, all those things that you kind of would want to know. It's a fantastic resource. So I would say definitely look there. But we are fully there to assist you in terms of letting you know of kind of resources to find accommodation and things like that. And our partners are the same. But there isn't a financial support there. That would be down to yourself. And as we said, what we do as well is there is kind of like a pre-departure Facebook group or WhatsApp group, and a little bit of a community. So you could think about maybe Airbnb with somebody else and things like that. There are all options there as well.
I also know that there was a lot of, when I was over there and for the January placement, a lot of people were actually contacting student accommodation in universities close by. So I suppose if you were teaching within a certain region, they would contact the student accommodation over there, which was obviously a lot cheaper. And I suppose as well, based on where you are placed, so the director of studies there in each school, they'll be able to give you a better insight of where would be the best place to get accommodation. And also, if you did want to maybe share, and there might be someone that, like from our group, maybe going to that area, you could maybe ask the director of studies there, would there be anyone interested in letting or renting a room, or if they're looking at going into a place with you as well. So there is loads of different options. We won't see you short, but Airbnb has become extremely popular as well for when students first arrive. So I suppose if it was something, obviously if you're going to be there for 9 months, if you had booked into like an Airbnb for a couple of weeks just while you get yourself sorted, find your feet within the area, and then I suppose really getting a feel for that area, what part of it, the region that you would like to live in as well, I suppose, because transport is so easy in Italy. Like you can jump on the train and you could be got to a completely different side. Like when we were in Lake Garda, we were on a train for literally an hour, and we were in Venice for the day, and you jump back up. Like it's just that's just the way it is over there. So I suppose you wouldn't even necessarily have to be living exactly where your school is. If you chose to maybe live outside it or on the suburbs or something like that, that's completely up to you as well.
Great. And I can see there is another question here. Is the enrollment fee an application fee, or are you accepted when you pay? So technically, no. Okay. You are paying for an application and the application process. But what we have on our website, and we ran through the requirements and the eligibility, but to be double sure, definitely check the website of the requirements again. We have a really, really good success rate if you fit these requirements. Okay, I think it's 85% or something along those lines. If you don't fit the requirements as they say, then obviously you won't be accepted. So if you come to us, you pay your enrollment fee, and then you turn around and you say, I have something on my criminal record, or I don't know, something, it's something that doesn't fit. I have no teaching experience at all, and I've never dealt with any kind of teaching, then, obviously that's not what we're looking for. So please check the requirements properly. And if you do fit the requirements, we do have a fantastic success rate. Just be double sure on those, Alison. And you can even ask me on Monday if you feel like you're kind of unsure if you fit the requirements and things like that. I'm more than happy to kind of run through them individually, and you can let me know your own experience and things like that, and I could let you know in a little bit more detail for sure.
We also do have a lot of blogs and things like that on like preparing for an interview and like your CV and stuff like that. I suppose maybe you may not have been even written up your CV in a couple of years and so on and so forth. And I suppose if that's been attached onto your application, you do want to give a good first impression. So I suppose it kind of does work both ways. We can't ever say that a job is guaranteed. I suppose that you have to go through the process of it, but there will be obviously an application form, and then there'll be such documents that they will require as well. Like they may just need a photocopy of your passport, just for, I suppose, just to show basically that you're an Irish passport holder, so on and so forth, and obviously attaching on a CV and a cover letter, everything like that is an extra bonus. So I suppose what I would just say is make sure that they're all up to date. Like you don't want the last thing on it to be something from a good few years ago. Make sure to be updating it and give the best first impression. And then I suppose when you do get called for an interview, give us a buzz, like call us in, speak to us about it, about how you should prepare for it, and we will help with all of those pointers as well, because we really want you to have this experience and I suppose put your best foot forward when it does come to the likes of these interviews as well. So I suppose we're there to help you out and to get you through that process.
Absolutely. And I suppose part of our pre-departure training and support as well is we will always screen your CV and cover letter before we send them to our partners in Italy. And if we feel like there's something that you could have done a bit better, we might send it back and say, look, would you mind just maybe changing that, or that we need a bit more kind of detail on that point. And that's the whole point of going with an internship and through ourselves as well, is that you get the maximum kind of chance of securing that placement in Italy. There is another question there as well, Aoife, about the accommodation. So is accommodation included? So we went through that when it's not included. Is there an exact start date in September? I don't know the answer to that question. Katie, do you have any insight on that? The exact start date?
The exact start date, no, but it's always within the first week. Now, I guess as well, we don't know about the 2 weeks quarantine, how many days quarantine, and then also there may be different requirements for someone who may be lucky enough to have had the vaccine or not. Like, I suppose there's different circumstances that if you are vaccinated prior to traveling over, that you may not have to do as many days quarantine, so on and so forth. So there still is a lot of question marks on a lot of these things, but it is the first week of September going into the second week of September that it's due to start. It definitely won't be the end of September anyway. So I would say within the first 10 days you're expected to start. That may mean that if that's the case, you may have to fly over the end of August if there is the 2 weeks quarantine. I suppose our partners can't answer that until we do start to get the ball rolling, get closer to the time, because things are constantly changing, as they are here in Ireland as well with the quarantine rules. They're constantly changing as well. So I suppose it's just up to us all to keep on tabs with that, but we'll be doing that. We'll be in constant communication with our partners, and they'll know firsthand from being over there as well what are the requirements.
Exactly. And I suppose it goes back to the point of, at times like this, and I'm saying it to everybody who's planning to teach abroad now and go on all of our internships, it's just so important to kind of be open-minded on the whole thing, because God knows where we're going to be tomorrow, you know, so we really don't know, and it's just about kind of moving with it as best as we can, and things like that. So we'll do our best and keep everything as transparent as possible the whole time through your application. Okay, in our email to you, should we include a CV and a cover letter? Thanks, Quiva. So no, what I'll do is, if you just send me an email and just say that you're interested in applying and just leave your contact number, I'll actually, myself or Emma will give you a buzz on Monday to kind of run through all those things. So don't worry too much. Don't worry about the CV and cover letter for Monday. I'll just be giving you a call on Monday. So that's fine. And Elisa, you mentioned that you need Irish passport. Our positions open also to other EU nationals having the TEFL.ie certificate. I'm pretty sure I'm not 100% sure, Katie, I don't know if you know about that, but what nationality is it, Elisa, if you don't mind me just asking?
Yeah, and that's something that I suppose we can look into on a case-by-case basis as well, Elisa, I guess, because we are the TEFL Institute of Ireland here, that primarily our partners are looking for Irish passport holders, and I suppose with Brexit and with everything that they're dealing with visa circumstances at the moment, if you do just want to drop us an email with those details instead of maybe saying it here, if you don't want to, we can go through that then separately. There was another question that came in there a minute ago, Kate, I don't know, did you see it? Would the 10-hour be classed as experience? So I suppose we did say that our partners are asking for some teaching experience. Now, the 10-hour practical day course will definitely stand to you, and if that is the only experience that you have, I would still say we could most definitely still go with applying. But I suppose Italy, for the last 2 intakes that we've had, it has been our most competitive program. I do want to just put that out there and say it. The application process is a lot more thorough. The fact that our partners actually came over to us here in June of 2019 and actually held a training program and everything like that, I think it just shows that they really want to get to know our teachers in depth and things like that, and to really build that relationship from the get-go. So I would say that if you did have any other experience when it comes to teaching, they just want to know that you are going to go over there and you will be staying there with in the classroom. You will have your set class, and that they can rely on you basically to run with that. Because look, don't get me wrong, it's a risk with any of our programs when you're moving to a new country. But I suppose if you've been there before, or if you like the Italian culture, like the food, like their way of living, and you've done your research, then it shouldn't be an issue. But I suppose there is always those risks when you do move to a different country that you may not like it. So I suppose our partners are really just trying to see what experience you have. If it's your first day going into a classroom, that's fine. Everyone has to start somewhere, but they want to just know that you're going to be staying there for the 9 months placement as well. And then there is opportunities for you to also stay on afterwards, trusting that you have obviously built a good relationship and that you have done well, I suppose, and you want to work with them, they want to work with you. So there is that potential of staying on. And I suppose another benefit of having a passport from Ireland, there isn't any issues with, I suppose, extending a visa or looking to apply for another entry into the country, that you can come and go from Ireland to Italy. So I suppose that's another advantage as well for us.
Great, thanks, Katie. And there was just a question there saying, just wondering, that's Hilary. So if all the opportunities will be in classroom or group teaching, or can we just teach private lessons? So you will be teaching in private language schools, and the class sizes are you'll enjoy kind of a small class size from 4 to 7 students. And most students are actually all over the age of 16. So it's a lovely, lovely class size to have. I don't know if anybody here has been a teacher before, but I myself, I really enjoy small class because you can really see the progress and things in students and everything like that. So even though it's not private, 4 to 7 is relatively very small if you compare it to our South Korea and Thailand internships, where you could have up to 25 to 30 students in a class. So yeah, small sizes, 4 to 7 students, all over the age of 16, and mostly adults would be your type of teaching experience. Hilary? Yeah.
No, sorry, Kate, there's just from being over there, and I suppose it's something that we haven't mentioned in it as well. It's quite an open, like our partner schools are quite an open plan environment. So I suppose there wouldn't be many like closed doors, desks, like that you have to be sitting at your desks and stuff. It's a more relaxed environment. So they would obviously be quite open, and it's a lot of conversational English and things like that. There is obviously like sections where you'd have couches and chairs, and there would be, everyone would have their own whiteboard, and it would still be that way of teaching. But I suppose it's in a more relaxed environment, because I suppose they just do feel that it's something different that they bring to the table, as opposed to coming in, we're closing the door, you're sitting at your desk, you're studying. It's more of like getting to know in a more natural environment, as opposed to just being strict in the studying requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see a couple of people here have been on the practical training course that we do, in our virtual course, I can see. And as you guys know, that we've gone through before, it is quite an open way of teaching, and it's definitely away from the traditional style. So I would actually advise anybody who's really interested in going and applying to definitely try and attend the 10-hour before they go as well, because it will definitely help you in your style of teaching for sure, and kind of get used to the way you'd be teaching. So I think, Muriel, there's a question there. Will the mornings be free? For the majority of the time, yes. The classes are in the afternoon, evenings, and on Saturdays. Now, there might be a time where you might be called into the school for a staff meeting or some lesson planning, or you know, we can't guarantee that you'd always have every single morning off. You do kind of have to be open to the school and things like that. But essentially, yes, you would have the mornings.
And again, just as Kate said earlier, just about being flexible in positions, like each school is different. So I suppose it's kind of based on who you're replacing, who the teacher is replacing. So I suppose if you're replacing a teacher who was teaching all classes between 2 and 4 each day, then you might like slot into that section and stuff. So we can't kind of say just across the board what exactly the teaching hours would be for each individual school, because I suppose it's different. It's different, I suppose, application. I suppose it depends on the school itself, on their needs of who the teachers are replacing. So I suppose just to be kept an open, like keep open-minded on that. And I guess it just means that you won't be working mornings, afternoons and evenings all together, you know, so you will get to see and experience Italy at a different stage as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose that's another reason why I love this program, actually, especially, is that our partners do make the effort to really get to know their teachers that they're sending over, and they get to know your background, they get to know who you are, your personality, what you like, your bit of experience, and they will place you where you will work best. You know, if you're somebody who's kind of more leaning towards teenagers or adults, that's the whole the process. And you know, you're not just thrown into a classroom, there you go, off you go. Your placement is directed towards you and suiting your own personality and your own profile. Do the schools speak English? So um they're private language schools abroad, so that would mean that basically a lot of the teachers would be Italian, but obviously they teach English, so they will be able to speak English, but most of them will be Italian. Um, and to get jobs in these schools, like the principal and the DOS, the director of studies, and most of the teachers, you would have to have you would have to have English. So yeah, they would. Will you need advanced level of Italian? So actually, no. It's always nice to have a bit of Italian, or to have a bit of the language of where you go for your own personal use. You know, we always suggest to people before you go off on an internship to, you know, download Duolingo and just learn the basic phrases, so you can, you know, you can get by in the shop and the airport and things like that, and it will help you. But essentially, no, you teach English through English, so you don't actually need it for the teaching aspect. We do recommend on a personal level to pick up a few basic phrases, because why not? Immerse fully in the Italian culture. But for the teaching part, no, you don't need it.
And once you walk in that door, like it's literally all English. So once you walk in the door of the language schools, it's all English. And I even heard when there were some colleagues, like teachers, chatting at one stage in Italian, someone else shouted over, being like, "English, please!" Like, you know. So I suppose it's kind of like once you immerse yourself within the door, that it's an all English speaking environment. So they would encourage even all of the employees and everything like that to speak it. So I suppose it's just so that the students can get the best of being immersed in that environment once they're in the language school as well.
That's exactly it. So if there's no other questions going in there, or there's one more to answer. Must you be a native English speaker to be eligible? Jack, again, I would give me a call on Monday if you can, because it works on a case-by-case basis. It depends on your passport, your schooling, all that type of thing. So if you just want to give me a call on Monday, and I can kind of run through it with you and let you know if you're eligible to apply or not. Jack, that's great. So again, I'm going to put in, this is our website and the internship details. Okay, so if you want to have a look over the weekend again with a bit more detail of what's included in the program, it's all there. And also download our Italy guide, our Italy brochure that's on the website. That'll give you a lot more of an insight into what's included in the program and everything like that as well. Have a really good read over, write down all your questions, and myself and Emma will be doing recruitment calls on Monday, and the program launches on Monday. So it opens up on Monday, and we have 15 spaces. So if you're interested, please send your email across to me, and I'll give you a buzz on Monday. Okay, and I think that's it from me. Ciao and thank you. I love it. We're getting in the Italian vibes already, definitely. thanks everybody for attending today. It's always great to have these kind of info sessions and explain the program and kind of get to know that there's a community of people wanting to go, and the person on the Zoom might be going with you. You never know in September, so it's very exciting. You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And Kate, did you have anything else? Are you kind of good?
No, I think that's everything. As I said, guys, very lucky to have been over there firsthand myself and kind of getting that bit of experience. So I'm sure that if you have any questions, Kate can even run it by me and so on and so forth. But I'm really excited for your journey, and I'm telling you, if I can, the first plane ride that I'd like to get to would be definitely somewhere in Italy, please God, over the next few months. So I wish you very best of luck with the process and have a lovely weekend.
Have a lovely weekend. And I was just going to say, Katie, you went in 2019, so it's definitely my turn to go.
Yeah.
Everyone would agree, so I'm going. Oh, what are you joking? Yeah, that's perfect. Have a lovely weekend, guys, and thank you so much.